All right, welcome back to Point Blank right here on Super 93.3 FM Port Harcourt. And if you have just tuned in, we are your number one family lifestyle talk and urban radio station. And on the show, on the program this morning, I have joining me the communications manager of the Social Action, Peter Mazi. And today we will be speaking on the issue, governors are stealing funds from local government. And this is a comment made by His Excellency, the President of Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari. And this particular comment is not going down well with many governors who have responded. And in fact, we've got our own dear governor here saying the president should name names and perhaps shame those people just so that those innocent governors will be exonerated, because it's a blanket statement made by His Excellency, the President of Nigeria. Mr. Peter Mazi, what do you think about that comment?
Good morning. Thank you for having me. The president is in a vantage position, and we believe that
In a vantage position.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
So I think that making such statement or make that statement, I'm sure our belief is that he should have. He understands,
Yeah.
he's in the position to understand what is going on. And when they talk about finance, and of course, he chairs the FAC,
Right.
and then of course he monitors how the funds are distributed, and how the funds are utilized. And I think it's in the backdrop of that understanding that he made that statement. Maybe he was just too blunt for the governors, but I think that he made a very profound statement that we shouldn't just wave away with the back of our hands. And I think that looking at that and also looking at the constitutional amendment bill which is going on, I think we should look at it critically and begin to put pressure on our local government, our House of Assembly members to look at that bill coming in for the amendments with at the backdrop of this statement and do what they should do.
Now, on the state governors in position of appropriating the fund of local government, I mean, how independent is local government?
Well, the local government is only independent in principle.
Right.
That is why we have the amendment bill, waiting for the states, to assent to approve for the president to assent to. Now we had two of those bills. First is the local government financial amendment,
Okay.
or fiscal amendment, local government financial autonomy,
Okay.
or fiscal autonomy, and then local government administrative autonomy, and they go hand in hand. Now, if you look at the route, how do our local government officials get to government? You understand why it's difficult to say that the local government is actually independent. So the governor decides, when to conduct the election, how long they stay the tenure,
Right.
and then of course because they also maintain a joint account, it is the power of the governor as it is right now to decide what is given to the local government, something for the boys, pay salaries and all that.
Right.
So because we have partners on the ground, Social Action, that is, have partners on the ground who monitor projects, especially the expenditure of the local government. And the excuse they've given is that, well, the funds are not entirely in their hands, so because the governors are in charge of how these funds are disbursed and utilized, so you can hardly say that local government is autonomous.
And is stealing the term to use, if you think about, following this narrative that you've given, the explanation that you have just given, do you think stealing is the right or appropriate word to use if they run a joint account, if the state governments actually even execute projects in local governments? The state's capital is a local government, headed by a local government chairman, to think of it, and the state governors execute projects in these different local government areas. Do you think that stealing is a word to be used in this situation?
Okay, if I had the understanding that you asked me this question, maybe I'll check to the dictionary of what the word stealing is. But my understanding of stealing is taking something that does not belong to you.
Right.
So if funds that are meant for the local government is taken by the state government, I don't know how we're going to interpret that.
Okay.
So yes, you say they execute certain kind of projects in the local government. You ask yourselves,
I
why
mean,
should
every project the state does, is situated in a local government.
yeah, besides that, there are certain kinds of projects
Right.
that the local government should take care of. Like there are roads that are meant for the local government to take care of.
Okay.
There are state roads. Some kind of markets, for instance, the government have no business building certain kind of markets. Some medical centers, which should be handled by the local government. So if these funds are actually separated, the law provides for what and what the local government should take care of and what and what the state should take care of. So you don't say because the funds, I have access to the funds and I can control the funds, I can hire and fire local government employees and chairmen. So it's even difficult for them to stand up to the governors, not just in the state, anywhere else, to say, no, this is what we want to do. So until we have that separation.
That's the point I'm making. So we don't have the separation. The local government chairman is like the staff of the governor. Because the governor can fire him.
Yes, it's
The
like
governor can decide when a new local government election will take place. If he decides that we're not going to have a local government election, like we've seen happen, where we had CDC chairman, we had a monitoring, what was it called now? We had those people in charge that were appointed almost on a yearly basis by the governor. We saw that for a protracted period of time until we've just seen elections happen that saw we saw chairman and their deputies, emerging. But if the local government chairmen themselves are like staff of the governor, right?
no, they are not actually staff of the governor.
Again, the
Yes.
reason I use the word like staff,
Okay.
I'm not saying they are, but they are like because they can be fired. The president cannot come and fire the governor of River State or any other state for that matter because they are not appointed by him. He doesn't also determine many of these things, right? So in that particular scenario, we can say the states are quite autonomous of the federal government
Yes.
and the president. But we don't see that autonomy. We don't see that separation between the state government, state governors, and their local government chairmen.
Yeah, it's difficult. Now, I talked about the administrative and the financial aspect of this. Because administrative power is quite influenced by financial power.
Right.
Okay, so if I control your finances,
I
it's
control
difficult.
you.
Yes. So because that aspect of the financial autonomy, the joint account is being controlled by the governor. It's difficult for the local government, like I said before, to say no, we don't want to do this or want to do that. So if there's that separation, it'll be there. So the governors understand this, that once you remove that financial power from the local government, it's difficult for them to stand on their own. Even if the constitution says, they are another tier of government, they are by principle, they are other tier of government. So why we look at that, we want also to understand that what is happening now is an anomaly, and that is why we have the amendment to specifically separate this joint account. So all the funds that are coming from the federal government will go directly to an account that the local government chairman or local government will control. And also even the IGR of the state, also the fund, the ones that pertains that should be for the local government, also is
The
put in
ones that
fund.
they generate themselves.
Yes. So with that kind of autonomy, with that financial autonomy, it will be easier, for the local government to exercise their administrative autonomy. Even though there is another bill too that specifically spells that out, which we are waiting for the approval of the state so that we can have this amendment signed into law by the president.
So perhaps it serves the state that there is still that delay.
Absolutely. In fact, we know for sure that there are certain state governors who are pushing and ensuring that
It doesn't see the daylight.
This is not the first time. Last time it happened, So we're hoping that out of these 20 states that that the bill has gone to, we have about 16 states that have signed, accepted,
have agreed.
Agreed. So we are waiting for another 8 states that will make it to third of the states that we're hoping we are very positive.
Is River State among those who have assented?
No, not really. And we are worried, at least for River State, we are worried. We know that, unfortunately, the bill also came at a time when it's pre-election year, where some of these assembly members have lost the tickets, for the next election. So it's been difficult to bring them, for plenary. So that's the challenge we're having now. But we're trying to encourage them to come and come to plenary, sit at the and then give us a yes, so that we can move ahead with this.
How long has it been since we've been waiting for River State to accept? Or?
Oh yeah, I think the bill actually was passed by the federal lawmakers about 8 months ago, thereabouts.
8 months ago.
Yes, so since then, we've been waiting for the states, to look at. Some states have said, like Lagos State and Ekiti State too, have said no. Some did not even vote at all. I think one state didn't vote at all. I don't have that, I can't remember that, but one state didn't vote at all. We're hoping that the remaining 16 states that are remaining, that we can garner up to 8 states out of 16, then we are good to go.
But 16 states have
16,
agreed.
yes, agreed, yeah.
8 states, some have said no outrightly.
Yes, I think 4 have said no.
And the other 4 are quiet about it, of which River State is one.
Yes.
Right. Interesting. What do you think, though, that is there anything the federal level, the federal lawmakers can do to fast track, this decision of the state governments, whether to give a definite answer, whether positive or negative?
Yeah, I think that coming from the federal, both at the executive and the federal lawmakers, I think one thing, like I said before, the first thing is the timing. The timing is quite wrong. Now, most politicians are busy politicking, so it's difficult to bring them all together, to sit. So we hope that the federal government and also National Assembly should do more when it comes to issues with politics. When it comes to their party issues, when it comes to issues that border around things that they want, they want to be fast-tracked. They know how to do it. They know how to bear down on the governor, they know how to bear down on whoever the stakeholders are, to do what they want to do. But when it comes to this, that's why some people felt that it's just a form, a way to expend the 1 billion naira that was voted for this exercise, so that they can spend the money. Some people don't have the interest, some people don't have the trust in the process. But a lot of people have gotten this far because of parties
Right.
that have been driving it, especially NGOs that have been driving it. We are at the National Assembly. We have been discussing with different stakeholders, ensuring that this one does not go like the last 8 assembly. So that's why we've gotten this far. Some people are surprised at how far we've gone because they felt it would go like the other ones. But we hope that the National Assembly members and the federal government also will put a little more pressure on this and ensure that we have this exercise and process and concluded.
Okay. Well, if you've just tuned in, it's Point Blank right here on Super 93.3 FM Port Harcourt. And joining me this morning to talk on the statement by the president, statement credited to the president that said state governors are stealing funds from the local government, is the communication manager of the Social Action, Peter Mazi. And this is what we've been talking about for a while. And it turns out that River State is one of those states, one of a few states, yet to assent or agree to the bill that gives some form of autonomy to local government and local government chairmen, of course. If you'd like to join the conversation, the phone lines are open. The text line is also open. You can call in or send a text. Now, if you'd like to text, it's 0905 9481 021. 09059 5948-1021. That's the line for text messages. That is SMS or WhatsApp messages. You can call 0705 079 1021. 0705 079 1021 and 081174 31021. 081174 Super FM Port Harcourt, good morning.
Good morning, Mommy Gio. How are you?
Very good, Ken Billions. Welcome.
Thank you, my dear. To me, for Mr. President, it's not all about making a comment without any which impact is he making to make sure all this nonsense is stopped. Let them send a bill to National Assembly to stop the state governors from conducting the local government election. Let federal INEC be the one that will conduct local government election. That's the only way we see sanity in this local government. So that's the best way to go. because he wants this governor keep on doing it. Let them serve 4 years as governors are doing. All these things will be minimized. It won't be like that anymore.
All right.
God bless you, man.
Thank you. Good morning, Super FM Port Harcourt. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Timothy, where are you calling from?
Calling from Bori, please.
All right, please go ahead, sir.
By the explanation of the guest in the house,
Mm-hmm.
I want to ask the governor of our state if he is aware, having denied
Your voice is very low. We're struggling to hear you.
having the denied strongly that is not one of the governor that the local government fund. That is he aware of what, according to the guest in the house, is saying that Rivers State is one of the states that haven't attempted to the local government administrative autonomy.
Mm-hmm. Well,
We should be
okay.
aware of
Whether
that
the governor is
before-
aware. Okay. All right. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yes, the governor is definitely aware because those bills are transmitted to the state government, for all the state governments, so they're aware. It's just a process of meeting and agreeing. And like we said, sometimes the state assembly, state lawmakers look at the body language or even direct, instructions from the governors to decide whether to say yes or to say no.
Interesting. Good morning, Super FM Port Harcourt.
Hello, good morning, all the communities once again on the line.
Yes, welcome. Go ahead.
I want to thank yes for pushing for that autonomy of local government. But I am worried, even though that will be a reality in the nearest future to come, but they will not still obey that because there are very, very many ways for the governors to manipulate the local government. If you want that to be, let us first of all have an independent election that can be able to allow anybody to contest elections by for the governors to set up a state independent election commission. Because these governors bring all these people. Tomorrow you will hear the House of Assembly will make a bill, joint account on rural development and agriculture program. The money that the local government have collected direct from the federal government, the governor would not tell them to send that money to that account. And the governor will be the one to make the person that will make use of that account or that fund. So how do you checkmate that the local government is autonomy? The only way to get independent autonomy is for us to take away the election commission from the state governor to allow it to be under the independence of the federal government or a private agency
All right.
to organize the local government election. So that individuals can contest and win without the influence of the governor. If the governor nominates you and you go there and become a chairman of a council and you have your money, if the governor calls in the midnight, say, please, I want you to transfer 10 million naira to this account, you cannot say no. Because when you say no, you have lost your job.
All right.
That is the problem. So I'm still worried about this autonomy of the local government. If we do not go to the grassroots to make sure that the individual people have the right to contest and win election in the local government without the interest of the governor, then we are nowhere.
Okay, thank you. We get your point. But it's very important what he has just said.
It's a very, very valid point. And it's something that we also hoped that was going to come up. But out of the 66 bills proposed that were sent to National Assembly, they approved 44.
Interesting. That's a milestone.
Yes, milestone. But we also presented the issue of the conduct of election by the federal government. That didn't pass. But we're hoping that we have the federal government conduct or another agency other than the state electoral commission conduct election for the local government. Now look at it, the scenario now. The argument is that the federal government conducts for the states, so the state can conduct for the local government. But the scenarios are different. Now for the federal government, why the federal government conducts for the state, I mean, INEC is a federal government institution that conducts for the states. The federal government does not control the state funds.
Okay.
Also for the states, if you have a state that will conduct, the governor that will conduct, or the state that conducts the election for the local government, and still control the funds, it's difficult, So we're hoping that we have an independent electoral commission, not appointed by the state, who can conduct, a free, fair and
And
credible.
very credible.
And we'll have a system where the terms are there. If it's 3 terms for the government, the chairman, they spend that 3 terms, the 4 years, we spend 4 years, and the time for election is as clear and understandable as it is with the state and the federal government. So we're hoping that this bill will be the first point. If we scale through this, and then we'll begin to think about who conducts election for local government elections.
Okay. Now, still following the thought that he raised, the governor vehemently rejected that statement. In fact, he denied it in very strong terms, saying that he is not one of those governors, and that the G5 governors are definitely not part of those. But there was something he said, that if the government and if the governor controls the local government, as we see that, the governor has a lot of influence, especially our governor in Rivers State has a lot of influence on the local government chairman. There's hardly anything that they can do without him. Yeah. Now, if such a control and influence is seen as we see here, do you think that any appropriation, and I'm not using the word misappropriation for me, it's I'm saying this with all sense of responsibility, the appropriation of funds that perhaps may belong to local government, do you think it will be seen as misappropriation?
Yeah, okay. We can look at it in different ways. One is direct control. Okay, fund come, and then you use the funds that is not meant for another person for and other things.
Yes.
Another one is done by coercion. You can do it's when you coerce somebody to do what is wrong, it's also wrong. Perhaps maybe what they are thinking is that when the president said stealing, they meant that they were taking the money and putting it in their pocket. But I believe that's not what that's the kind of impression that comes when somebody steals money. He's taking somebody's money and putting it in the pocket. Maybe not so. Maybe what it means is, like I said, taking funds that are meant for somebody. Like you don't want to use the word misappropriation. I want to use that word misappropriation.
Okay.
When you take fund meant for something else and plan it to something else. And so when you take the fund meant to local government, and don't build a flyover or build a school or whatever, for me it's stealing, because what that fund will have done for a local government. The primary education, the primary health care, will have saved some lives that perhaps have lost during that period for the lack of those infrastructure. So look at the cause and effect of all those things. So if you say that it's the influence can be either direct influence and say issuing threats or just by subtle coercion. But as long as you take funds that are meant for something else, either by direct instruction or by coercion, and appropriating it to other things, outside the purview, of that authority. For me, I think, like the president said, is stealing. But misappropriation maybe should have been
an appropriate word.
Yeah.
All right, we'll take some more reactions and then I'll ask you a few more questions. Super 93.3 FM Port Harcourt, it's still point blank. And the phone line says 08117431021 and 0705079121. Today we're talking about state governors stealing funds meant for local government. And this is a comment and an allegation put forward by the President Muhammadu Buhari, against the governors without mentioning specifically the governors. And my guest has pointed, and it's a statement of fact, that the president has vantage points, and for him to make such comments, he's got proof. But maybe it's a choice of word that should have been maybe different, just maybe different. Good morning, Super FM Port Harcourt.
Hello?
Good morning. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Abi, good morning. This is Chike calling from Port Harcourt.
Good to have you on the program. Go ahead, please.
I think what the federal government is saying, I will regard it as somehow diversionary. Even federal at their level, they are not even doing the expectation of Nigeria. You know how many, they are even talking of 13%, this and this. What about the remaining 87% that go to the federal government? How did they dispose it? How did they utilize it in terms of proper utilization? So, it depends on the constitution. If the constitution does not allow local government to enjoy the level of autonomy, it says that they'll be under the mercy of the state government,
All right.
which is the force of the constitution. So they should not be giving us, rather they should tell us how they use their own money. The
Okay.
federal level, let them tell us how they utilize their own money, rather than try to pass this all this blame. They started from, they say PDP, this one. Now they are not diverting attention to local government or state. I think this is supposed not to be discussed, because it's somehow annoying. The federal level have supported
right.
us. Even state, I will try more than the federal.
All right, thank you very much for that comment. So, I mean, it's for him, it's sounding hypocritical of the federal government to be making such a statement.
Oh yeah, you would say that before you remove the peck in your eyes, you have to take out the log from your eyes. Well, no, I don't think that from my own position that
Okay.
the federal government has done very well. But you see, the truth is that it's easier for you to get two very key information on appropriation.
Okay.
And that is the budget document, and then the financial document, which is the Attorney General's reports or the Auditor General's report from the federal level. So the budget shows how the expression of intention, what you want to do, and then how you expend your funds for the year and get them from the Auditor General's reports, which is easier, much easier to get from the federal level. For states, getting even the budget, which is an expression of intention, is extremely difficult for most states. Not to talk of getting how much came into them and how much they expended.
Yeah.
So if you look at it in that light, you can say that even the federal government is more open
Than the
states.
Because the federal will give us a proper breakdown
Yes, you
of
see.
budgets.
You can only agree with them on how those funds were spent.
Right.
Yes, but you see it. But you don't agree. But
But at the
for
state
states,
level, we
you
don't see that
It's
breakdown.
extreme-
It's a secret.
Oh, it's a huge secret. Some time ago, we are threatened when we try to get, we know how we get I have the budget for 2020 last year, 2022 this year, but it wasn't just easy, And so that's what we want also to replicate in the local government. Because local government should have a budget which emanates from the communities, and then they should tell us how much they spent, in their, so we can hold them to account, for their stewardship. And that is what these bills are all about. But right now, as it is, the federal government is still more open than the state government. You may agree with or disagree with them in the way they appropriate those funds, but in terms of openness, I think the federal government has more than the states.
Interesting. Good morning, Super FM Port Harcourt.
Good morning, the very distinguished OVA. How are you doing this morning?
I'm good, thank you. Go ahead.
Yes, sir.
Welcome to
Citizen
Temple.
greetings. I salute Peter Martin.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas in advance, sir.
See you too. Thank you very much.
Yes, I remember a very distinguished Temple Okere. Looking at Mr. President's, will I put it, accusation to the governors, and they say he who alleges must prove. I'm not the one that said it. It has been in existence before my mother, conceived me. And Mr. President has made his own assertion, but I would have loved, if you want to make a case here, mention the governors and their states and how this money are being moved. Because the same president, when he came 2015, told us how he is now transmitting local government funds direct to local government account. And for me, it will be irresponsible and, will I say, foolishness for any local government. Because when we talk about how elections are being conducted, the states are crying how the federal might are being used to manipulate the election at the federal level. Is it the one that when you transmit it or you tell them to conduct it that will not be manipulated? For me, it amounts to consciousness of that of sincerity. Who is conducting the election? Who is the INEC electoral empire? Who is the INEC commissioner? Who is the right commissioner of the various states? In making sure that credible elections are being delivered from the federal level to the state and down to the local government. Those are issues that need to be conscientized. And Mr. President, for me, is a diversionary statement because I expected him as a minister of petroleum to address issues of petroleum rather than chasing rats. Mr. President, as far as I'm concerned, is chasing rats. And it is inconsequential when you make accusation without pointing somebody directly so that the person can be able to defend himself or herself.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Temple, for your comment. Good morning, Super FM. All right, we lost that one, but you can call us back. Good morning, Super FM Port Harcourt.
Okay.
Good morning.
Cover just in 30 seconds. I want your guests to analyze this. Can we be able to ask any local government chairman to tell us how much has been receiving for revenue or monthly allocation from the state government? They let us go and take what the federal government is giving out to the state so that we can be able to know how much they are receiving. Because that's the only way to check maybe through to the government and the state governors are taking money from them. Because no local government chairman can tell you exact amount of money he has been receiving from the state or from the federal government.
All right. So, if I understand him correctly, you see that the even though the absence of autonomy has its adverse effect on the growth rate of local governments and in other areas, you see, it also serves all of them that secrecy.
Yes, it does. Like you said, we can tell how much comes to local government from the FAC account. What we cannot tell is how much actually gets to the coffers. I mean, how to get to the hands of the local government authority.
Right.
Yes.
So on paper, it may be
Paper,
different
yes,
from
different,
what actually is
yeah.
transferred.
There was this executive order that the federal government, the president gave to streamline how much is withdrawn at a time, for any project that belongs to local government. I think it was 500,000 at a time. I don't know. So that you cannot pull out funds so much. But even then, like someone just mentioned, the governors have a way, to go around these things. So it's difficult, like we say, but we want to just what we've seen to making progress in this, the crop of the local government, I don't pity them. The crop of the local government chairman we have now, you want to question, how did they get there? So if that foundation...
So they're paying their paying-masters.
Exactly. So who bears the brunt? The communities. So when we're asking for local government autonomy, it's not because of the officials there. It's not because of the local government chairman.
It's for the people.
For the people who should have the dividend. I mean, this word is a cliche now. The dividend of democracy.
Right.
Because we are hope that at that level, we have people that are close to us, that we can hold accountable. We can ask them, where is your budget? We can ask them, how did you even form this budget? Because the budget should come from the people.
Right.
Through the needs assessment.
Absolutely.
So when they have the it's difficult to come to the state to tell them, this is what we need. But if they have the local government authorities working, it's easier for them to go to the local government chairman and the councillors and say, this is what we need. And they can hold a town hall meeting and then annex these deeds and form the budget. And then from the funds that they have, the resources they have, they can begin to implement these projects. If you look at, for instance, what we have in Port Harcourt, the project we have in Port Harcourt. Let's take just one of these, for instance. Say one of the flyovers, and break this down into funds and distribute to the local government, different local governments. And you can imagine how many maybe cottage industries.
So it's interesting that you raise the issue of needs assessment, which is one of the things that we lack in very many sectors.
Yes.
We see that governments at different levels just carry out projects
that they think the people need.
Sometimes they don't. It's not a thinking the people need. It's just something that is appropriate, that is weighty or strong enough to cushion or to cover up whatever needs covering up. So there's no proper needs assessment done so that projects are done to meet needs.
Yeah, that is very correct. So for instance, a governor goes somewhere and looks around and said, okay, for these reasons, I'm going to do this. And then no matter what anybody says, it goes. And these things are not even captured in the budget, the first budget. Maybe later there's a budget amendment,
adjustment,
and then you have that captured. But the governance should be, like somebody mentioned, we shouldn't be serving those that are supposed to serve us. The highest seat should be the seat of the citizens of Nigeria.
Right.
Not the president of Nigeria.
The highest position should be the person who has the highest explanation to give to the people. So
we don't have that. When it's time for election, they come and then we have access to them. They tell us stories, and then after voting, we become slaves. They think that we should applaud them even for constructing some of those things they construct, as if it's a gift unto us. That we should thank them for constructing road. We should be grateful to them for constructing small markets. We should bow to them for doing one or two things. These are public offices.
And nobody has used their personal funds for any of these projects.
Exactly. The thing is so easy. I mean, it's a collective commonwealth.
And it's
that
but again, it's a mindset problem, don't you think?
Yeah, I think we as see that's the part that we as citizens, need to wake up to. First of all, is the understanding, that because someone is the governor, because someone is the president, doesn't make you better than you are.
Right.
What it is that we all cannot go there and manage his funds. That's why you say somebody will come and say, look, I can manage your funds for you, just like any of our businesses. Lee Kuan Yew has said that governance is entrepreneurship.
Like your account officer or your stockbroker. Or
exactly. And then when you come and give me account of how you have your stewardship, how you manage this fund, these are what they are. Of course, we make them comfortable. That's why we make them comfortable so that they can have the environment.
So that they can focus on the work.
I mean, that is why they have the kind of comfort.
And so that they take on no extra responsibilities.
Exactly. So because the Constitution have made it that much and given them such much power, they've abused that power and thinking that because they're in that position, they are our lords. And then just like the grasshopper mentality, we begin to think that, oh yes, they are our lord. Oh, let's not do this. Let us pamper them so that they will not be angry. Let us massage their ego. So
we find people say things like, oh, he could have done it in any other local government, but he chose to do it for us and stuff like that.
So this should not happen. Governance is actually set up so that they can provide security for us. They can manage the fund that belongs to us, and then give appropriate account. That appropriate account is what we hardly see, because if there is an account for stewardship, and then we can hold them to account, it's easier for us to say, oh, this person has done well, and this person has done well. A governor cannot come and say, I've done so much, I've done well. What standard? How do you measure that when you cannot tell us how much you have and how much you have expended these resources? So we should have the proper opportunity, proper environments where these are done. Until that happens, we are just just like having a customer mentality and thinking that they're doing us favors, for managing fund. That's not actually true.
All right, we'll take some more reactions this morning. Point blank on Super 93.3 FM Port Harcourt, still talking about local government autonomy, talking about, state government still, somehow controlling the funds of local government and deciding what goes where and who gets what. And we're talking about the statement credited to the president saying that state governors are stealing funds meant for local government. Join us on this conversation at 0705-079-1021, 081-174-31021. Super FM Port Harcourt, good morning. Hello, good morning. Good morning, Super FM Port Harcourt. All right, do well to call back. I'll check on WhatsApp right about now. Good morning, Super FM Port Harcourt.
Yeah, Mommy Gio.
Ken Billions, go ahead.
Thank you. See, I listened to my governor. He was saying the president should name the governors, the G5 governors, is not among. I can remember vividly, some months back, he suspended 2 local governments, Tobiako and Port Harcourt, Hunwa and Co. They are collecting revenue. What is the meaning of that? That is one. Okay, see, in boy, now they are state. This year alone, they are suspending no less than 5 or 6 local government payments. The same thing in Northam, in Benue State. What are they saying? What they preach is they call themselves G5 governor integrity. What they preach is what they even have. Being guilty of what they preach. Let them practice what they preach. Let them live all this hypocrisy life.
All right, thank you. Good morning, Super FM Port Harcourt.
Hello, good morning, my sister.
Good morning, sir. Welcome.
Yeah, blessed morning to you and your guest in the studio.
Good to have you on the program.
Morning.
Yeah, my sister, you see, sincerely, all the governors come out to run. It's just a kind of cover-up. Because I know very well that when the federal government came out some time ago to grant local government financial, this President Wike was the one who was ranting here and there, said that cannot be possible, this and this, and was like, he has already granted local government autonomy, whereby they decide how the money comes in, how they give local government, and keep some of the ones that the president is saying today. And now he's the number one man to come out and begin to say nothing like that, and this they should name You see, it's just guilty conscience that is making him to come out to say all these things. And
All right.
also looking at our constitution has really give room for these state governors to behave so much, just as your guest in the studio has mentioned. I don't know why they allow this local government to be solely in the hand of these governors, even when it comes to do local government chairman election. They should change this thing. Let this thing be on a general election whereby INEC will oversee all these things, even up to the councillor. Let it not be this governor. Governor will do their own. When it comes
All
to
right.
councillor, governor and chairman will do their own. So Wike should not come and be telling us stories. He has been doing this thing the federal government is saying, president is saying.
All right, thank you. Good morning, Super FM Port Harcourt. Last caller.
Hello, good morning.
Comrade
my
Tambari,
sister,
go ahead, please.
Obi. Yeah. I greet your guest in the studio.
I salute you.
Yeah. As regard to this, the president alleging that governors are responsible for those funds meant for a local government chairman, I want to 100% agree with him. Let me tell you one thing my father used to tell me. If you want to hold a thief, just accuse everybody. Just say, you know what happened to Christ? When Christ was saying, somebody here want to betray me, that person who wanted to betray Christ was the first person who raised, are you saying it's me? So already the person who has been in that act in River State has already started making noise, asking the president to name the person. We already know here in River State. That is why the funds meant for minimum wage has not been paid. If that amount, that money was directly to the local government chairman, minimum wage and increase of salaries and all that are hold are supposed to have been met by the local government chairman. Because even if you ask the local government chairman whether the governor is tampering it, they will not tell you he's tampering it. You know that. They can only tell you. But they are dying in secret because they know that if they say it,
All right.
how did they manage to come into power? The governor will really show them off. So this issue of posters and all that, I was in Bori when those people came. So hijack everything.
Okay, so that's not the conversation this morning, so let's not join issues. We've left that particular conversations. But I'd like to take your last words this morning and to respond to the comments that have been made so far.
Okay, yeah. I want to say that good governance is what is due the people.
Right.
And governance is all about the people. It's not about parties, not about personalities. And so whatever is done that changes the people, it's just wrong. And we need to correct them. And sometimes it's difficult to do that in a lump sum. So we have bits and pieces of legislation amendment here and there that we should put pressure on those who should do them. We should be able to do them as people. And then for our government, let them also understand that, power is transient. You'll be there today, tomorrow you'll be out there and be like any one of us, And so what it is what you leave behind and what lives after you. And so with that understanding, let us put the proper measures and proper things so that at the end of the day, posterity will tell a good story about us. And then that's the legacy we need to leave for our people.
Very well said. Very well said. Thank you so much, Mr.
My pleasure always.
Thank you for having sharing your time with us and putting your voice to this very, very strong conversation today. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Thank you. All right. Thank you also for listening. You who's made out the time to join us on Point Blank this Saturday morning on Super 93.3 FM Port Harcourt. Many thanks for joining in a conversation as well. And you just again listened to the man in charge of communications manager of Social Action, Peter Mazi, and we have talked quite extensively on the issue of local government. I was going to ask you though before you left, what has Social Action done? What moves have you made with the state houses of assembly? Because again, don't you think they have a role to play in all of this?
Oh, yes. In fact, it lies squarely. The responsibility lies squarely on the State House Assembly. We tried to talk with them. We tried different measures to talk with them. It's a little bit difficult because, you see, the most times they meet, when there is need, according to them, to meet. is look at all the members of the State Assembly. They all belong to one party.
Interesting.
So when you have that happen, and they want to look at the man at the top and look at body language. Everyone want to please him. Nobody want to be in his bad book. So if he's looking the other way, you don't want to look the other way. And so that's the problem we've had. But we've not relented. We're still talking. We're still hoping that before this tenure runs out, to be able to have them to sit and at least give us a verdict. I mean, we hope that will be a yes for us.
Yeah, I hope so too. I hope so. Well, thank you again.
Thank you very much for having me.
And we'll see you again next week, Saturday. Point Blank will return, and by God's special grace, Mr. Segun will return. But my name is Obi Ivy, and thank you so much for participating. Thank you, every single person who has made the Point Blank show for the last 3 weeks what it is. Thank you for that. Up next is a short break, and then, of course, we'll be bringing you our 30-minute broadcast with Andrew Womack. And thereafter, at 11 o'clock, Kiddis Radio will come.